What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Wrenching Podcast. It's a bittersweet day. I just got a call this morning that we're ready to start working again. And so, long story short, I work in construction and I live in Idaho. So in the winter, when the ground gets cold and hard and we can't dig, we can't work, can't pave, we stop working for a couple months. And usually, since I'm a good worker, they try to keep me around so that I don't leave and go somewhere else. But usually I'll work through the winters. But last year I had a pretty good year, and so I was able to take months off this year. And so when they said the slow season's coming, don't expect many hours, I told them I'm good to take months off. So basically I told them that once they're ready to start paving, to call me back and I'll come back. That's the busy season. And so I was good to take a few months off. That gave me some time to work on social media, this podcast, my trading, other skills that I wanted to work on, and that has come to an end for me. So now my schedule is going to change, and I have to figure out how I'm going to balance my content, balance my trading, balance my job. It used to be first quarter of the day, go to the gym, the first morning part. Second quarter of the day was trading. Third quarter of the day was content, and then the fourth quarter of the day was really just enjoying the rest of the day, because why not just cut off and then give myself some time at the end of the day. And so now I'm not going to have the middle half of the day. I'm probably going to have a little bit of the morning, but not too much. Hours they're not consistent. But I knew this day was coming. I knew this season was going to end. And I think that's a perfect way to give an example of today's topic, which is seasons. In everything we do, there are seasons. Seasonality isn't just fall, spring, summer, winter. I said those all mixed up, didn't I? Winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, and the cycle continues. I forgot where I heard it, but there's a saying, there's a reason for the season. And I feel like this season, this time of 3 months that I had off work, it was a season of growth, of repair, of bettering, upgrading, and maybe even just realizing where I'm actually at and accepting. So then I can go into the next season fully prepared, knowing where I'm at and accepting of just where I'm at, instead of giving myself the delusion that I'm somewhere I'm not in my life. I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited to start the work season again. But also it sucks having to now have to shift everything and manage my time a lot more around this job. Seasons can't last forever. Every season has its purpose. Every season has its necessity. Every season has its lessons. If every season lasted forever, we would not be able to grow. And here's the reason why. Because within seasons, we either have a step back period, a push forward period, or a still period. I mean, for the most part, that's at least how I categorize my seasons. It's either a time to push hard, push forward. I'm getting into that season, that work season, where I have to push hard. We're going to grind, long hours, long days. This season that I'm getting out of right now, that is ending for me, was a little bit slower paced. It was made for me to not have too much going on so that I can focus, so I can be still in what I was learning and what I was doing, and so that I could realize and refine and go through everything that I was putting my head into, and that's fine. That lasted 3 months. So in that season, I needed to make the most of it. And I did. I put my head down. I was not distracted. I did not drink. I did not go party with friends. I did not go mess around. I used the time and I used the season to leverage the skills and everything that I wanted to start for the year. And it was perfect how it worked out at the beginning of my year. So then going into the year, I knew exactly what I was going to put my head to. It just worked out perfectly for me. Now, carrying into the year, hopefully I'm able to move forward in everything that I'm doing, because it is a lot. Not that my day isn't busy enough, and so I needed to get a job, or with this job now I have to try a lot harder to manage the time that I will have to still work on trading. I will not have time for learning trading anymore. I have to use anything that I have learned in this season, the next season to come, which is the work season, the growth season, the push hard season, fix my strategies for this coming season. Closing the year last year, I had to work on all my cars. All my cars needed a little bit of work. I didn't have that time last summer, the last work season. And so come this slow period, this slow season, again, rebuild, fix, learn, and grow a little bit. In the still moment, in a still season, I had to improve, and that's what I did. The truck I took apart and upgraded it a little bit, nothing crazy. The BMW just needed regular maintenance, but if I did not do that maintenance, it was on the verge of destruction, so it needed that maintenance. But it wasn't just a simple maintenance. It took pulling the engine out, taking it apart, and then redoing the whole timing chain. It took a lot more than what I expected, but it needed to be done. So during the season that I'm now walking out of, I did not make money. There was no income. There was no work. There was no hard push. It was a slow, constant grind, but it was to rebuild and fix and overlook and go back and see if anything needed refined, and my strategy and trading and my cars to get to work and my systems that I have at home, my budget, my management of time, my management of money, my management of how I'm going to push my content this year, my learning on how I'm going to push content this year. And so in a still time, in a moment where God told me be still, it wasn't push hard. It wasn't you need to grind and get these things going. It was everything that you're doing, you need to go over it. You need to think about how you're going to attack this next year, and you need to think about if everything you're doing is going to do that for you. Because if you're going to go into a season where you don't have time for maintenance, but your things need maintenance, you're going to fall behind, you're going to struggle, you're not going to be as efficient during that work hard season. And so I need you to take a step back and understand where things could go better, where things can improve, what needs worked on, if you need to change something, if something needs replaced, if something needs upgraded, if you can upgrade something so then it makes things easier for you or more reliable, or go over your strategy for trading, or go over the way you're managing your money, because this year you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know if you're going to make as much or make more. You need to take this huge step back from work and from pushing hard to go over and maintain. Okay, that's that season. Let's talk about the last season. The last season was work hard, push hard, and make everything work that I had, because I did not have time to stop and maintain. I did not have time to slow down and learn trading. I did not have time to go back and back test. I did not have time to go study somebody's course. What was my time being used for? Woke up, didn't matter what time it was. We'd either work night shifts or day shifts. Again, construction, so we don't have any structure. Day shift, we'd start sometimes as early as 6 o'clock in the morning. Night shifts, we'd start as late as 10 o'clock at night. Day shifts, we'd get out after 12 up to, I think I worked a 16-hour day one day. Night shift, I got in at 10 to get out probably 12 p.m. the next day. Then go home, rest, to go do it again the next day. What did I have time for? Did I have 5-6 hours to study? I did not. Right now, I have the time. Right now, I had 5-6 hours. Honestly, the gym days that I wake up, go to the gym, I have 18 hours, because I'd wake up at 3, gym by 3:30, 3:40, out of the gym by 4:40, 5 o'clock, and then I'd have from 5 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night to work on everything else in between, to study, get my content, figure out what I'm going to change, anything that needs managed differently, anything that I need to oversee and work on, any car that needed its maintenance. Again, I threw all that into one pile, and I did that all at once so that I had my free time afterwards, so I could lock in on my trading and my content. And then anything else that came up that needed to get done. But in the summer, I know I don't have that time. In the work season, I don't have that time. The season before that, we just went over my current season, and I'm ending my last season. Was I in a growth season? No. I was in a figure out what the heck I'm going to do season. I had quit my job that I had committed to doing, and honestly, when I left that job, I didn't know what I was going to do. Not profitable trading at all. We were out of town, and so I was spending a little bit more than maybe I should have. I don't even think I was making anything being out there. So in that season, I was just away. And I couldn't even manage myself. I didn't have time to come up with, I didn't even have time to trade. So the last season, same thing. I had just gotten out of a season where I had taken a step back from a really a work season. I had just taken a step into a new season out of a work season. But it wasn't a be still season. It was a what are you going to do next season? because you have nothing going for you right now and you have to figure this out like soon. What's going to change? I took a couple weeks off and then I started looking for a new job. I feel like I didn't have much growth in that time because it was a short period with an odd, it was odd. So quit my job, was jobless for about 3 weeks, and then I got a job, but with that job I was busy and I was struggling with my trading, and this season just felt slow, and it felt like I had the momentum that I lost. And so in that season, I still don't understand that season. I still don't understand those 4 or 5 months that I went through, because I was doing good with trading. Apparently I was actually the best that I've been so far. Work kind of sucked. It was just slow. I was making money but breaking even. And then my time after work, it wasn't very much because that job wasn't a high paying job, so it was just something to keep the bills paid and then save a little bit on the side. So nothing crazy. And so it was a season of just like, what are you gonna do? It was 2-3 months of really thinking, what are you gonna do? What's the next step? What's gonna happen? And honestly, I said, I don't know. I just gotta sit here and wait and pray and see what God's got for me, because I honestly have nothing for me anymore. I did what I thought I needed to do, and I ended up having to leave that job, and so now I'm stuck in this season in between where it's just like, I'm not making the money that I want to. I'm not having the time that I need to grow and pursue this trading career. I wasn't thinking about content at the time because I felt like I had nothing to talk about. So again, it was a season of figure out what you're gonna do. What are we gonna do? What are you gonna stick to? What does the future look like right now? What decisions did you just make? So it was a season, let's call it a lost season. I was completely lost. Okay, what season came before that one? Honestly, that year, I don't remember anything. I just remember putting my head down and working. I'd go to work, I'd come home, I'd lock in at home, I'd sit in front of the computer for hours, and I wouldn't do anything else. Wake up in the morning, go to the gym. Between the gym and going to work, I'd sit and I'd think about trading, and then I'd go to work 10 hours, and then I'd get off work, and then I'd come home straight to the computer, and that was that whole season. That was that whole, let's call it, I think that lasted like 9-10 months. That was about a year of just doing that. But in these seasons, there's a reason for it. Let's go back one more season, because I think that will tie everything together. The season before my lock-in season was I just found something season. I just found out about trading. I just found out with something that I want to pursue. I just found my thing that I want to pull me out of where I'm at. Like, this is the thing that's gonna help move me to the next level. This is the tool that's gonna help propel me to the next level. I had just found that. And so I was trying to figure out how I was gonna do everything, and like my life was a mess. I just left this company that I'm currently with now. And because I felt like it was taking too much away from me. I thought I needed to quit, because I thought that this job would take too much time away from me and I wouldn't have time for it, even to like sit down and study. And I was right to an extent, but I think I could have made the time. Could have made a little bit of time. I hadn't even like experimented yet to see if I had the time. And so now I'm stuck between jobs again. I'm in and out of like different jobs trying to find my place, and I'm just trying to balance everything. I'm lost. But I knew what I wanted to pursue. I can keep going back year by year and explain to you guys seasons by seasons and give you guys a timeline, because I remember these things. I sit and I think about these things. I remember there's a time where I was doing really good with my life. There was a year that went extremely well, and I have not had progression like that season. Like, again, I have not had a good feeling season or a good feeling year looking back like I have that year. Specifically, 2018 was a year for me where I was able to look back and be like, yes, that was a good year for me. I did so much change, so much growth, so much look good for me. I had such a good future. I don't know what happened. And it's just like, I had to let that go to get into these new seasons and new growth. Different conversation for a different day, but I just remember, like, there was a time and then everything that's happened since then. But there's lessons to be learned in every season. There's a reason for every season. I wasn't going to have this opportunity forever where I could sit and learn and not push very hard, not stress everything that I'm learning, and there was going to be, the season was going to end, and it did end, and I'm glad it ended, because I can't sit still forever. eventually I have to start pushing hard again. Eventually I have to take everything that I've fixed, everything that I've learned, everything that I've gone over, everything that I've refined, and use it. There has to be a time for me to use it. Because if I don't use it, then I wasted the season. I wasted that time of being still, of isolation, of growth. Just like when people go to college, they go and lock themselves into college. They are broke, they are hungry, they don't eat because they don't have any money, because all their money has to go to college stuff. All their time has to go to college stuff. They don't have a good job that can pay and give them a good living because they're stuck in college. And then they leave that and then they go and take a job that has nothing to do with the degree they got. Or worse, they quit in the middle of their degree, of their, whatever the heck they're pursuing, their career that they're trying to learn from. Don't use that in an actual field, and they just wasted years of their time, of their life. Just because you're not going to college doesn't mean that you don't have those incubation seasons. Doesn't mean that you don't have seasons that you can't waste. In that season where I was talking about how I was getting the progression I thought I had, or I thought I was getting the progression because I was doing the best of my training that I've ever had, and then just to find out that it wasn't all that good. In that season, that job that I ended up finding for the temporary time that just paid bills and didn't get me anywhere, barely any savings, but just paid bills, that was a really good season of me to say, this is how everybody's living. This is what people are doing every day with their life. They show up to a job, make just enough to pay their living, and then they save just a little bit gets taken out of their paycheck to go into their 401k or whatever. They don't have much of a life because they can't afford it, but they can afford just enough to live. I'm working just hard enough to where I have time at the end of the day and in the morning before work to put a little bit of extra time in. And it was working for a bit. It was working. But again, I needed that season to move on eventually, because I was not getting very far with it. I had found my balance. I had figured out, okay, I can work and I can trade and I can do all this stuff. I just need more momentum. So I left that job. I got a call back from this place that I'm working now. Now I'm here. But I could have stayed at that job. I could have just had bare minimums. I could have just broken even. I would not have had this season that I'm ending now. I would not have had the money to fund this season that I'm ending now. I would not have had money to take a vacation entering this season. I would not have had money to fix the cars and everything that I needed to do at the time in this season. I would not have the money. I would be stressing about it right now. So I would not be able to incubate myself like I did the past couple months. I needed a push hard season. Here comes another push hard season. I'm excited for this season. I don't know what's to come in it. I don't expect it to be such a good push hard season like it was last year, but I expect a good season. Some seasons are for enjoying. Some seasons are for growing. Some seasons are for work. Some seasons are for finding yourself. And some seasons, there's that too. There is a time where I was just so lost. I call this my heartbreak season. I was just so lost and I was broken. I had just gone out of a relationship that sucked. And I was just lost, and I was just doing everything. I was living that really toxic masculinity lifestyle of sleeping around and doing all the red pill stuff that you see on the internet. And eventually, that was a season. I needed to learn something from it. I needed to find that balance in between. Now I sit somewhere really good in the middle, but I couldn't stay in that. That's really toxic. That's really bad. But for the time being, I needed it because I needed to grow. That was the same time that I found Jesus, and I met Jesus, and that's when I fell in love with Jesus. I needed that season, and God knew exactly where He was going to meet me. I want to say that I did everything to myself, and then God did the extreme, the big thing of making sure that that's where I ended up, because He knew that that's where He was going to meet me. That was the best place to meet me. Let's put it like this. Let's say it was a recipe. I had the ingredients of what the outcome was going to be, and God knew exactly where He needed to meet me. Like baking a cake, you know the ingredients you need, you know what the outcome's going to be. God saw the ingredients by the fruits that I was producing with my life, and He knew exactly where He was going to meet me. And He knew what challenges I needed. He knew what lessons needed to be learned, so that when He met me, He just had answers for me. And I needed that. After the heartbreak season came the find myself season. It came the build the confidence season. It came start building season. It came to the season where my second life begins. I forgot if it's in a book or if I just heard in a podcast, but they were like, a man has 2 lives, and the second one starts when he realizes he only has one, or something like that. Or everybody has 2 lives, but the second one starts when you realize you only have one. Something like that. But it's like, I feel like that was a switch for me. I feel like that was where like things change, and everything kind of like, everything just kind of shifted for me. There was a season where I just gave everything to God my whole time and everything, and again, it was a be still, but it was a give everything to God season, and that season, it didn't last forever. Again, God had a different plan for me, and everything else that worked out. But if instead of using my meet God season, I would have used it for keep red pilling season, I would have wasted the potential of meeting God in that season, or misused it, or think that I got everything out of it when I really didn't. But just like a lemon, you're never going to squeeze all the juice out of it. But you can get the most out of it as possible if you try. You're not going to squeeze it dry, because it just doesn't happen. But you'll get 95% of the juice out of it. I think sometimes when we're in the season, it is hard to understand what we're going through. I think that's why sometimes we have harder times than others. That's why sometimes it's just like nothing goes right, everything's breaking, nothing's working, savings isn't building, everything is just an expense right now, everyone just hates me right now, I can't do anything right for anybody, I give somebody advice and it falls through for them, anything I do, anything that I try, again, testing seasons, challenge seasons, growth seasons, again, seasons to really step back and think, there's just, it's hard, in the middle of everything, I think it is hard. Could you have micro seasons in between your seasons? Yes, I think so. There's nothing that says you can't have a little bit of joy in your cold season. There's nothing that says you can't make a little bit of money in your be still season, in your learning season. There's nothing that says you can't have something bad happen in a really good season where everything's working for you and everything's perfect for you, and that season's made for you to prosper in. But I don't think they're micro seasons. I think they're more like moments and seasons that are worth remembering for. This morning, again, this couldn't have been any more perfect. Yesterday, something threw me off. I was upset, and I was just in a bad mood, and God was like, dude, shake it off. Just shake it off. It's not that big of a deal. Shake it off. And I'm like, okay. And like I tried, but like I still didn't, I didn't release it. I didn't fully release it. We had worship night last night at church, and so I take my car keys, and I'm riding with my girlfriend, and I leave my keys in her car. I locked the door on my way out. She was already in the car. I locked the door with my keys, and I left my car keys in her car. So this morning, she leaves to work, and I have somewhere to go after she leaves, but I don't remember that my keys are in her car. I had to go find her. She couldn't leave work to bring me keys. It was my fault for leaving them in her car. I look at the weather. It's not terrible. It's 3 miles down the road. Okay. I guess I'm grabbing the bike, and I'm riding to her work, grabbing my key from her, riding all the way back, and then I can go to where I need to go. Because I'm not riding my bike. It was a lot further. It was like 25 miles. I'm not riding my bike 25 miles one way. But I will ride my bike for 4 miles. 3-4 miles. Okay, I go grab the bike. Bike's flat. Grab my girlfriend's bike. It's a lot better than mine. It's at least rideable. Okay, I can get to the gas station, put air in the tires, whatever, $3. Get to the gas station, pump's broken. I have to go find another gas station. So I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to start going to where I need to go. And then I'll find a gas station along the way that works. And I'm tired. Like, I have not ridden a bike in about a year, because we spent the summer riding bikes, but nothing crazy. I'm working on going to the gym, so my stamina is at least somewhat okay, but I'm tired. Tires are flat, doesn't help. I'm tired. I get up on top of the bridge that goes over the freeway, and I just stop for a second to catch my breath, and God's like, hey, you remember how yesterday you wouldn't shake that anger off? And I'm just like, yes. He's like, okay, I told you to shake it off. You would have remembered your keys if you weren't thinking about how mad you were. If you would have just been in a better mood, you probably would have remembered your keys, or I would have reminded you, but you didn't listen. I'm like, okay, I see where we're at. And then he sits with me there for a moment as I'm catching my breath, and he's like, it's not that big of a deal, dude. Like, think about everything else that you got going on. This isn't your life. You are not stuck on a bicycle having to ride your bike to work. You are not stuck jobless. And even still, this is better, because somebody, as I was sitting there, somebody walks by me. As I'm trying to catch my breath, somebody walks by me. And then God tells me, you could be walking as well. You at least have the bike. You could have almost not had the bike. You almost didn't have it. You're on almost flat tires that are barely usable. And I'm like, you're right. It was a moment that I needed for a reminder. This is a higher low place in your life. In day trading, when we're looking at a chart, if we're looking to trade gold and it's just going up, you want to find an entry, you look at the higher lows. It goes up and then it comes back a little bit because it needs to pull back to gain more momentum to then continue going up. And in life, we have those as well. And in that moment, God stopped me and He's like, this is a higher low moment for you. But you needed to remember as well, things could be a lot worse. Through your anger, I was able to teach you a lesson. And the lesson was, I could always, no matter where I'm at, be humbled. No matter where I think, if I hold on to my pride, if I hold on to my anger, if I hold on to my feelings, and think that I am better than God for not deciding to listen, something not good will come out of it. And that's what happened. I was humbled. I get to the gas station, I put air in the tires, get back on the bike, and it's just flying. I feel like I'm not even trying. I feel like it is so easy. But with the flat tires, it was so hard to pedal. And I was tired, and my legs were hurting, and I said, I have to do this. I have to go get my keys. I have a time frame. I got to make it there before a certain time because it was scheduled. So on top of that bridge, with that moment with God, I said, I want to remember this moment. TikTok. Documenting my journey. Documenting the grind. Documenting the struggle. So in this still period, where I did not make money, where I did nothing but lock myself in my room and learn trading, learn content, post content, work on my systems that I have in my life, work on my cars. After I had refined everything and I'm getting ready to go back, just this morning I got this message. And just this morning I got stuck on the bike. After getting ready for everything, God pulled me down for a second and He said, remember, things could always be worse. Remember that you're in a good position. Remember that you've been working on everything. Seasons are about to switch. I want to see you do good. I want to see you prosper. But I want you to remember, this could be your life. This could be a low for you. This could be somewhere where you're stuck. You could be stuck on a bike. You could be jobless. You could not have a skill that's working out for you. You could just be frustrated because the skill's not working out for you. You could just not see progression in your life. And honestly, the rest of the day has been peaceful. I don't know, the rest of the day has just been peaceful. I had that moment, that low moment, that kind of took out all the low moments in this stay still period. I feel like, and it wasn't even a low moment. I don't even take it as a low moment. I take it as a moment that, God just humbled me. He pushed me down for a second. He reminded me what I am. So it was just a moment in this season. It was at the end of the season. It was just a moment in this season. But that moment meant so much more than maybe everything that I've been working on. Maybe that lesson did not need to be learned. But because God saw something in my character yesterday, He said, you need this right now. You really need this right now. But that doesn't mean that there was no growth. That doesn't mean that there's nothing to be learned. That doesn't mean that the season was worthless. I just realized I did not turn on the stabilization on my iPhone, and I'm recording on my iPhone. For those of you who don't know, I record on my iPhone, and then I have an external mic. I did not turn on the stabilization on my iPhone, and I'm just looking over at it shaking. I hope the video doesn't suck. I'm not deleting this one. I don't care if it does. I'm not deleting this one. I'm going to leave you guys with that. There's a reason for the season. Might be growth. It might be stay still and learn. It might be a hard push forward season. Might be a growth season. Might be a learning season. Might be, again, and there could be seasons where it's a lot of that combined in one. There was a season where I did nothing else but learn trading. I don't remember the rest of the year. That whole year I spent learning trading. I worked, but I spent the whole rest of the year learning trading. I did not do anything else, and I realized that I don't like that, and so I told myself I'm not going to have another year like that. So I learned multiple things in that season, but the main reason for it was trading. I don't have any memories for that year, but I do remember that I locked myself in a room and I said, I'm going to learn trading. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you're on any streaming platform, leave me a 5-star review. It'll help me out a lot. It'll help push the message out. If you guys think that the message needs to be pushed out, give me a 5-star review on the channel, because that will help the algorithm recommend the channel to other people that probably need the message heard. Or if you know somebody that you would like to share it with them. If you guys made it to the end, I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys in the next one.